Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me on this look right here. I'm going to be using the products that I chose out for my September Shop to My Stash bag. If you missed yesterday's video, I will link it down below. I go over all of the August picks, review, do a little bit of decluttering from my Shop My Stash bag, and then also share what I'm not testing out, but going to be using consistently for September. So if you want to see how I got to this look here using nothing new, why don't we go ahead and get started. Hello. Okay, we are here, we are ready. Hair clips back in. I actually do have one eye done because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I did one eye off camera just to be sure I had it together. So obviously I'm going to be starting with my eyes today. And I first am going to use some eye primer. This is from Covergirl, the Lid Lock Up. Go ahead and use my fingers to blend that out here. Then I actually am going to use some tape because I wanted to get more of like this sharper line that I have with the eyeshadows. So I'm just going to use some Scotch tape here. Hardest part is sometimes I think with tape is making sure I get it in the the same spot over here. I feel like that's really challenging, and just getting it in the spot you want it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and try, and I also try to make sure to get it underneath my bottom lashes and not tape my bottom lashes down because that is real uncomfortable, let me tell you. I think that's close enough. Might have taped some of my lower lashes. A little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to try to make it work. So for my eyeshadow palette, I have this one here from Viseart. Again, I just wanted to show it some love this month, and I felt that it was a really good fall palette. So this is what we are doing today. So first, I'm just going to take this first shade here with the Moda Super Crease brush, and I'm just going to apply that all over my lid to kind of set my primer. It does drive me a little bit crazy. I understand why they don't have a mirror. Like, I've heard the story behind like the packaging and being able to see through, and for like makeup artists and makeup artists on set to be able to easily see which palettes they need to reach for. But I mean, for me sitting here filming a YouTube video, it'd be real nice to have a mirror, you know? So I'm just going to run that all over here. And then I'm going to pick up, also from Moda, this is just a regular crease brush. And I'm first going to grab this just kind of really neutral brown first. And I'm going to apply that into the crease and take it all the way out to where the tape is too. Using the same Moda brush, I'm going to pick up this brown shade here. So it's just a little bit of a darker shade. It's still more of a neutral brown, and I'm just going to kind of do the same thing with that shade, just keeping it a tiny bit lower in the crease, but again just kind of doing the same thing and blending those together, taking it all the way out to the tape so I can get more of this smoky shadow effect out here. And then I really wanted to pull in this red also. I'm going to use a Sigma E54, which just is a blending brush, but it has just a little bit of a tip on it too. And I'm going to focus this shade on the outer part of my eye. Again, running it right along the tape here too. And then just blending it all on the outer corner. I feel like this color is very fall-ish, if you will. I know we're not officially in fall yet, and it's not till the end of September, right? But our weather is sure feeling like it. Got my, can you tell? Can you see me? Got my Green Bay shirt on today. I'm filming this on Thursday, and NFL kicks off tonight, and Green Bay is playing, and I am so excited. I have no idea how the game's gonna go. We got a new head coach. I do not know what is gonna happen in this game. I'm just kind of working on building up that red here and blending it in with those brown shadows. Okay, so now kind of like the moment of truth, I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off. See, I just really like how you get more of a sharper line. I don't think I did too bad actually. I don't think that's too bad. Like, even wise, I don't think it's like 100%, but I feel like it's probably like as close as I would get. So I'm happy about that. Okay. Good. And then I'm going to pick up a small brush here. This is from Real Techniques. This is interesting. This is a shading brush, and I'm going to pick up the second shade in the palette here, and I'm just going to put this along the inner part of my eye and just kind of like slowly fade it in to the blending shadows that we used, just to kind of brighten up the eyelid just a little bit. But I wanted to do an all matte look. This is an all matte eyeshadow palette. I did pull in an Hourglass glitter shadow too, but for this one I just wanted it to be an all matte look. So I'm concentrating most of the pigment on the inner part of the eye, but then like once I get to the center here, I'm just kind of lightly tapping over it so it has a nice blend, like a nice like gradient here into those other shadows. I'm just gonna take my bigger Moda brush and just make sure that looks blended also. Okay, cool. Okay, I think I like it. Alrighty, that is what I'm gonna do for the eyes for right now. We'll come back to them obviously in a little bit, but I am going to go ahead and move over to my face. So I used the same, if you haven't seen yesterday's video, obviously, of course, I would recommend checking it out, but I'm using the same primer and foundation that I had for last month, since I really wasn't able to use them really consistently since I was trying out so many new foundations. I fear that's going to be the same this month too, but so I'm like, I as well just keep them in and try them out. So I'm using the Olehenriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. Just see like how many more uses I can get out of these this month, but man, there's just more and more foundations releasing. I feel like a lot of palettes are coming out right now. If you watch my Wednesday's Will I Buy It video, I feel like definitely palettes are kind of like really overtaking it too. There's a lot going on. And then of course holiday stuff is coming out. Using the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation, I'm in the shade 5, and I'm using the Ofra Sponge to blend it out. So I did want to say thank you to everyone who came by the live chat or who watched my replay of my live chat that I did on Tuesday, and for all of the support. I'm still getting in your messages and emails, and I'm still trying to respond to everybody, but I really felt like a huge outpouring of support from my community over here, and I really do thank you guys for that. I was talking in the live chat about a few different subjects, and some of them were hard to talk about, and you know, and all of that, and I had on there that I was gonna just briefly mention something that happened in my personal life that has kind of like shooken me up a little bit, and then I like truly lost it. I mean, I was crying and I could not stop. And truly, if that had been like a regular video that I would have edited so much of that out, because at one point it's literally just me sitting there crying, like can't even speak, can't even do my makeup. I just completely like lost a hold of my emotions, and it was so hard to watch that back, and it was a challenging moment. But I definitely thank you guys so much who responded on the video, or again took the time to like DM me or message me. And again, I'm trying to get through them as quickly as I can, because I want you to know how much it really does mean to me for that. Just to touch on it briefly, just to briefly so you guys know what's going on if you haven't seen the live chat, I mentioned that it came to my attention that some people in my real life almost kind of like seek out the videos where I talk about struggles, and it's pretty easy to see what they are. You know, it's usually a Chatty Get Ready With Me, and I usually put something in the title of like, you know, Tuesday's live chat said tough times. You know, I'll say things like that because that's really my warning to viewers who maybe you just want to see about makeup. You want to see what I'm hauling. You want to see what I'm reviewing. You want to see what I'm recommending for sales. You don't want to, you know, kind of like a deeper side of it. And I totally understand that is not for everybody. So that is why I put almost kind of like a warning in my title. Like, this is what we're talking about today. If you don't want to be a part of that, don't click on this video type thing, you know? And so I found out that some people kind of like seek out these videos, I guess, and like talk about me and my struggles, and that sucked. I mean, truly, like, that sucks. That sucks to hear. It bums me out. And like I said, I did make a pinned comment in there saying, you know, of course it's not everybody in my life. You know, I felt like I was kind of making it seem that way, but I got so emotional at one point, I couldn't really speak, and I do still have, you know, good friends that care about me and reach out and all of that. But it was just kind of a weird thing to hear, and I've been kind of struggling for the past month of, do I continue to open up on the internet? Because in a weird way, the internet became like a safe place for me to discuss some of these topics. And that might sound really backwards because, you know, a lot of times we hear like, oh, the internet is so, you know, it can be so bad and it can be so damaging and it can be so negative and it can be so this and that. And it definitely can be those things. But when I open up about experiences with mental health and depression and other things, truly all I get is support from my online community. And that's huge. And I get messages from people saying, I've gone through something similar. Thank you for not making me feel alone. You know, thank you for trying to erase the stigma of mental health. I mean, I get messages from people saying that my words, my books, my videos, my stories have been life-changing to them. And that is not something that I take lightly. So even though it is so hard for me to come on the internet and talk about times where things were rough, times where I couldn't smile for a week, times where I couldn't get out of bed, times where my husband had to literally pick me up out of bed and put me in the shower because I hadn't showered for 9 days. That's hard to do. It is not easy. It's not fun. I do it because I know I'm helping someone, because I know others who post videos like this, who write their stories, have helped me. That is why I do it. Like all of a sudden, my purpose of doing this was kind of, I was questioning it myself, and should I keep doing it and should I keep going? And again, just doing that live chat Tuesday and getting all of these messages. I was sitting down with my husband last night and we were reading them, and because, you know, at one point I said to, my husband's name is Mitch, I said to Mitch, I said, I just don't know if I should keep doing this. You know, like at some point too, I have to protect myself and my feelings and again, and my own mental health. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to keep doing this. And he's looking at my phone with me and we're looking at all these different messages. And he goes, there's a bigger purpose for why you talk about these things. And he said, there's a reason behind every story that you share. And those were two of the biggest takeaways from what he said to me. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And, you know, I was talking to some other, you know, some viewers who sent me messages, and we were talking about it. And, you know, I told several people that I wasn't sure I wanted to keep going on, you know, talking about these subjects, and every single one of them was like, you can't stop. You know that you're helping people and you've helped me, and you can't let other people silence you. And I was like, you're right. Like, if I was hearing another YouTuber, like someone I've mentioned that I look up to a lot is Raw Beauty Christy for being open. If she was coming online and saying like, you know, I'm dealing with this and I don't know if I should keep going and keep sharing my stories, I would be writing into her and saying, no, like, don't stop. Like, you are doing a good thing. There is a bigger purpose to this and you've helped me so much. That's what I would be saying to her. So I'm like, you have to take your own advice too, you know, for sure. So, so I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who wrote in and again, like, kind of gave me the confidence back in having my safe place, because I was interviewed recently for a podcast that should be going live soon. I'll definitely share about it once it does. And one of the questions that the gal asked me is, the first time that you really opened up on the internet and talked about some of these other struggles, she said, you know, what were you feeling? What, you know, once you published that video, how are you feeling? Like, what were you expecting? And I said I was terrified. I was expecting backlash. I was expecting, you know, rude comments. I was expecting, you know, oh, get over it. I was expecting, you know, I was just, it's so sad to say that I was expecting negativity, but I was. And that video has over 2,000 comments on it. The first video that I ever opened up talking about mental health publicly on a YouTube channel had over 2,000 comments on it, and not one was negative. Not one. They were all supportive comments. and that's incredible. That is something that I try to remember each time I get nervous to post a video or to open up, is to remember that exact scenario. And like I said in the podcast, I said it took me hours to go into my comment section because I was so afraid. I was so afraid of what I was going to read. And sure, you know, I have, you know, opened up here and again, and still there was one from the live chat that came in, there was one comment that someone was like, stop whining and move on. Like, you know, every once in a while, one or two can trickle in. But for the majority part, it is supportive. It is, you know, it's in support of me talking about it, but it's also other people, you know, opening up too, or saying that they don't feel alone. I see people connect in the comments. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. So to feel like, I feel sad that I almost lost that for a second and that I almost decided to shut that part of me down. You guys don't know, like, there's so many times that I wish I was quote unquote normal, that I didn't struggle with thoughts in my head telling me all these different things, that I haven't gone through abusive situations in the past. There's so many days where I'm like, I wish I could just sit down and just talk about makeup or books or whatever it is that I want to talk about. I wish that I could write happy books. You know, someone at one point asked me why my books are so dark and so twisted. It's like, well, that's the life that I know. That's, you know, a lot of authors do write on their experiences or get inspiration from their experiences, and you know, for a long time that's what I had to go off. I wished I could write happy too. I love the genre chick lit. I think it's so much fun, but I could not write that genre to save my life, because I write about people making bad decisions and doing bad things, and what happens next. Like, I don't know. I like I said, there's so many times that I wish like things would have been differently, but at the same time, would I be such a passionate individual about certain topics if I hadn't gone through certain situations? I really have wanted a platform for doing good, and you know, I have all these different ideas that I've, you know, touched on a few of them here and there throughout my YouTube videos, but I have all of these different ideas for things that I want to do for, you know, girls who have been in similar situations like me. Would I be that passionate if I hadn't gone through those situations? I don't know, because I can't go back in the past and see. But, you know, I wake up every day just like fired up and motivated, and I love what I do. I love my career. I love writing books. I love having a YouTube channel where I can have fun and I can be silly and talk about makeup and review products. But at the same time, I can also come on to say, you know what? Life is not always rainbows. Life is hard. Here are the things people can go through. Let's be kind to one another, because you don't know what people are battling. And I don't know if I would be that passionate had I not gone through what I have gone through. So I just kind of have to look at it that way, and you know, just try to think that in a way that they were blessings, because I am someone who, I am not afraid to speak about these subjects online. I'm like trying to fire myself up here, right? I'm not afraid to do that. And it is okay if you are someone who has gone through situations and you wouldn't feel okay speaking about them publicly. A lot of people do not, and that is okay. But it's also great to have the people who can speak up for some of us who feel uncomfortable talking about those subjects online, who don't feel okay just, you know, talking about it to just anyone or putting it out there. It's good that there's a balance of people out there who some can be public while some can be private, and I'm okay being public. I have always been okay being public about it. I mean, from my books, and then even before I was a published author, I would speak about certain issues. Even in like my speech classes in college, some of my speeches that I covered were based on topics of things that I've gone through. And I was speaking about them to my classmates, to my friends, to my boyfriend, to people I knew. And that was definitely very challenging, but I have always been okay being public with things that I have gone through. And I realized that I almost lost that for a minute there, right? And that really bums me out. But I almost lost it there because why? Because I was embarrassed? Because people would talk about me behind my back? Like, no. Like Mitch told me last night, there's a bigger purpose to what I'm doing. And I can't forget that. And I thank you guys for also reminding me of that, whether you left a comment or, you know, messaged me, or, I mean, a bunch of you were tweeting me also. I'm still trying to get through my emails. I appreciate your feedback too, and letting me know that there is a bigger purpose. And I appreciate you guys so much. I really hope that you know that. You guys, it's so funny to say, but the internet sometimes does feel like my safe spot with this, because I know so many of you have gone through certain situations, or you can relate, and you know, you're appreciative of the people that can put out topics like this, just like I am. You know, a lot of people, I said in my live that I was kind of thinking of maybe messaging Raw Beauty Christy just to ask, you know, has she ever gone through something like this too, or you know, had maybe a little bit of pushback from people in real life, because she's so open about things on the internet, and so many of you were telling me that I should. So I did send her a DM on Instagram, but I don't know if she would even see it, or she'd probably think I'm like crazy because it's like 4 huge paragraphs or something like that. But I did reach out, so we'll just have to see if she gets it, or if she's even like comfortable. You know, I even put it there, like, if you're not comfortable talking about this, like, please don't even bother to message me back. That would not hurt my feelings at all. But it was just so funny because in so many of your guys' messages, almost everyone was like, and you should message her. I was like, okay, I'm going to. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys. Like, I felt like there was no way I could do, you know, some sort of get ready with me and not thank you guys for the support on the live chat. So I do greatly appreciate that. Any products that I've been using, I mean, obviously these are all from my Shop My Stash bag, so if you caught yesterday's video, you'll know what they are, but it will also link them, as well as any brushes or tools that I am using. Those will all be linked also. One thing that I wanted to talk about, because I think I want to make this like a whole video, and I've mentioned this before in the past too, and I've never gotten around to doing it. I try not to, you know, I try to be like maybe once a month open up in a YouTube video, or like every other month, just because, you know, I am mostly a makeup and beauty focused channel, and that's, you know, what I do want my focus to be on. But I do like to talk about other subjects too, so I think I'm actually going to try to start incorporating a little bit more of like get ready with me chit chat videos in here too, just because I want to, and I feel like I've got my confidence back once again. Listening to a podcast this morning, the Rise podcast with Rachel Hollis. I referenced it quite a bit, and she was talking about the fear of success. I think that's the name of the podcast title. And she mentioned at one point imposter syndrome, and I also listened to Approachable with Sam Ravindell and her friend Alyssa, and they have an episode on imposter syndrome. And I kind of want to do an episode on that. I don't know if I want to say I fall into it a lot, but you guys know on my YouTube channel, I very much talk about, you know, positivity and all of that. I mean, we got the shirt with the positive posse on there. I got shirts of, you know, cool to be kind, and, you know, like, you know, all those different things, and just like inspirational t-shirts and stuff. Like, that's kind of how I am. But I wasn't always this way. And it's crazy for me to look back sometimes, especially my college years. I was such a negative person. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy for me to look back and remember and recall just how negative I was. And I think it was just because I was in such a bad spot with so many different things, with like my family life and just different things like that. I was just in such a, financially, I mean, that was pretty much a disaster, but I was in such a bad spot, and it turned me into such a negative person. I was talking to one of my guy friends about this recently, and I was just saying to him that, like, like how different we all were through college. And at one point I go, it's kind of a miracle we're all still friends, because you know, you go through changes in college, and you know, who I was in college, I'm definitely not that person today. My friend who I was talking to, who he was in college, that's definitely not the person he is today. And it's just interesting to think about that. But sometimes I feel like I don't let that part of me go. And you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I remember when you did this, remember when you were crappy to this person, or remember when you da-da-da. And just remembering how negative I could be. At one point I'm like, who are you to be on YouTube and preach positivity and being your best self when you've made mistakes? You've made those mistakes, Samantha. What are you doing? How can you do this? How can this be you? And you're telling other people how to be positive and how to live your best life. I get stuck in like bringing myself to the past of like, remember when you did this, remember when you did that, that was crummy of you, how dare you do that. But that's not who I am right now. I have made so many changes throughout, I mean, the past several years. One of the biggest things that I've noticed, one of the biggest things I noticed with really like making a change in my attitude truly was yoga. And I know some people like kind of laugh at that, but for me it is so very true. I noticed when I started practicing yoga daily and really getting into it, and not just the workouts, not just the poses, but really even more of like the spirituality aspect of it and all of that, it really made a huge difference in my life. And I felt like I was able to start shedding some of those negative layers that I used to carry so tightly around me. And I'm so grateful for that. It's why, I mean, I talk about my yoga practice a lot. Sometimes I'll post little videos on YouTube or on Instagram even of my yoga, but I felt like it really did make a really big difference for me. So I don't know, I was thinking about that could even be like a whole video, because one thing I get really worried about too is I never want to try to convince the internet that I'm a perfect person, right? Because I'm not. I mean, I was apologizing for a mistake that I made in Tuesday's live chat. I am not perfect. I will continue to make mistakes. I thought maybe it'd be interesting to kind of look back and kind of talk about why sometimes I do feel like, you know, how dare you, like, how dare you try to build this platform on positivity type thing, because I wasn't always that way. But, you know, goodness gracious, I'm not who I was at 13 years old. I'm not who I was at 18 years old. I'm not even who I was at 24 years old. I'm now 32. I've gone through life. I've made changes. I've grown up. I've matured. And does that mean going forward I'm never going to make another mistake? Heck no, because that's just impossible. But it's just funny that sometimes I feel like, how can you be doing this? Like, who are you to be saying all these things? And then I think, I know who I am. I know what I try to reflect on other people. I know, you know, what I say on the internet is how I am in real life, and how I am in real life is how I try to be on the internet, and all of those different things. So that's kind of what I have to remind myself of. So I don't know, I was thinking maybe that might make for an interesting chat too, and going like a little bit further into it. I don't know if you guys would want to see that, but you can definitely let me know. I do feel like sometimes I hold myself back from success because I let myself get into that mindset of like, you've made mistakes, like you're not a great person. I mean, just the same thing that I've been saying. And so I kind of like hold myself back from, oh, I have this great idea, but like I don't deserve it. Like if that goes well, or if that's successful, how dare I deserve that? That's what I think a lot. And I think that has a lot to do with my mental health and the thoughts that I get in my mind. One of my main thoughts that I struggle with when I am in a depression, or even outside of a depression, I still get these just like ridiculous thoughts in my mind. And one of the most common thoughts that pop into my head is, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve my friends. I don't deserve my husband. I don't deserve my successes. I don't deserve my career. I don't know what it is, but my brain will start telling me that, and if I'm not careful, I will start to believe it. So it's hard, it's a struggle, and especially when your own mind is screaming at you, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that, how dare you do that. It's like, ah, like it takes you a second to have to try to get those voices out, basically. And one thing that I've been doing is when I notice that I'm having a lot of thoughts going on is I will write down the opposite of what my thoughts are saying. You know, you don't deserve your success. I've worked hard for my success. I deserve my success. You know, like different things like that. And just being able to look at it on paper definitely helps me out a lot. I was interviewed recently for a Facebook Live from another book blogger, and she was talking about my books, and in particular my fifth novel, yes, fifth, Defining Her. And she was like, man, those characters, there's 2 female leads. She said, neither one of them is likable. Like, neither one of them is a very good person. You know, and she said, why is that? Why do you write characters like that? And I said, because A, there's no such thing as a perfect person. If anyone tries to, you know, convince you that they're perfect, they have a perfect life, a perfect marriage, a perfect house, it is not real, because no one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and what I find more fascinating about humans and what I like to try to reach in and tap into and discover is what we do after we've made a mistake, after we've gone through a rough time. How do we bounce back from it? How do we come back from it? What did we learn from it? Those are the things that I think are most interesting about the humans, not how they've tricked us all into thinking that they're perfect and fabulous and all these different things. But when life is messy and sloppy and reality sucks, like what do you do next? What happens next from there? That's what I think is most interesting. So I don't know, I thought maybe, whoa, I almost dropped my palette. I keep looking, I just literally was looking like this was a mirror. Nope, there is no mirror. So yeah, I've been on YouTube for a couple of years now, and as time has progressed, I've found my voice, my confidence a little bit more in talking about, you know, positivity and being our best selves and all of that. But have I always practiced that myself? No. I'm not gonna lie to you, no. And so I thought it would be maybe interesting to kind of like reflect back on my journey and how I went from being, you know, just always having negative thoughts about even just like people or situations, or just kind of being that person that would always find the negative in any situation, looking at like a beautiful photo and being able to point out the flaws. I mean, that was me at one point, and I think it's why now I'm so vocal about trying to say, like, you know, find the positives in any situation. It's why I get frustrated if I can post a 20-minute YouTube video reviewing 12 different products and showing different eye looks, and a person will point out the one time I mispronounce a word or something. I'm like, dang, you know. And I think a part of it why I get so hyped up about it is because I know that I used to be that way, and I know how much happier I am with changing that mindset around. So I feel like that's why, like, I try to encourage people to find the positives in a situation. I just know how much happier it makes me, and I know that with getting into that mindset, it's how your mindset kind of continues. It's like you get into a habit of looking for the positives and looking for the bright side in situations, and then slowly those negative layers really will start to come off you. So I mean, it definitely is a process, and it can be hard and it can be challenging, but I know how much happier of a person I am since really making that change from who I was as college Samantha to who I am now as, you know, 32-and-a-half-year-old Samantha. My half birthday is September 23rd. I don't know yet if I'm gonna have like a party. Like, I'm not really sure. Don't really know what I'm gonna do yet, but my half birthday is coming up, so very exciting. Mark your calendars. I'm just really looking forward to September. I love flipping over a new month. It just always remotivates me. It re-excites me. I'm making some changes with even just like my filming scheduling that I do. And I'm really excited about that. I don't know, there's some fun things in the works. I just feel very motivated and inspired right now. I honestly thought I was just going to touch on that for like a hot second to say thank you to you guys, but now here we are, and we're almost to the end of the video. I had some other things I was going to talk about, but that's okay. We can save those for another time. But yeah, so I'm just finishing up with the highlight out of the Zoeva palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and align my lips using the Dose of Colors Undressed lip liner. I feel like with this eye look, I need more of like a nude instead of a Salt Life from Tarte, because this one is more of like a mauve, and I think with, especially with having the red, I don't think it would match the look great. So I'm just going to grab Honeylove from MAC. This is in my project pan. It was in last month's Shop My Stash, but I also have it because it's in my project pan and I want to be making progress on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in my lips with this and then use my Fenty Gloss Bomb. Before I do that too, I want to do some inner corner highlight with the highlight from the Zoeva. I just want to do inner corner highlight for the eyes because it is a very matte look, but I still like just a bit of a inner corner here. And then I'm just going to do the brow bone also, just lightly. And then I'm going to add some of my Diamond Milk from Fenty on top here. After that, this look is complete using all of the products from my September Shop My Stash bag. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing me put together kind of this more fall look. I'd love to get some feedback on some of the subjects that I talked about today. I'm gonna be really curious to hear your comments. Again, thank you guys so much for your continued support over here. I appreciate you so much. As always though, if you guys did enjoy this video, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I will see you in Sunday's video. Bye.